listening to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
All right, guys, welcome to the Throwback Thursday edition of Sweep the League. Throwback Thursday, why? Because we get into our element here. We're talking just straight NBA tonight. We're going to talk about most athletic point guards. And on X, I tagged one of the best point guards in Mark Price. Athletic-wise, I mean, not super Baron Davis athletic, but one of the smartest point guards out there. We'll see if he jumps in. Maybe he can jump in, maybe leave a comment here on Sweep the League for myself and Hall of Famer Derek Gerber. We're going to talk more NBA as well. It's going to be an NBA night for you guys out there. So for all you NBA lovers, be sure to tune in. Let's not waste any time here. Let's bring in the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. Derek Gerber, decked out in that San Antonio basketball gear.
And I'm giving a shout out to Steph Curry today as well, my Under Armour.
Yeah, point guard talk. So we don't consider Steph a point. I know we make the case for him not to be, but we are talking all point guards, man. So before we got going, I did a tribute to Gus Williams, who we lost today. Also the tribute to Bob Uecker. Two guys that are legends in their own respective games. Gus Williams there. I've only seen the clips. I've never seen him play, to be honest. That's, I'm a young cat basically when it comes to that, but a ride with the 79 champion Seattle Supersonics. Can you give everybody a little bit of a highlight reel to get the mind going about Gus Williams, one of the legends in Sonic lore?
Well, I'm going to send my condolences to his family and, of course, Mr. Bob Uecker family as well. Bob, the Milwaukee Brewers are proud of you and all the fans that you acquired over the course of your 90 years. So I got to definitely give a shout out to that gentleman as well. Gus Williams, well, first of all, his nickname was the Wizard.
Yep.
So when you can get a name like that, he's a guy that played in college at the University of Southern California. Went on to become an all-star with the Seattle Supersonics. One of the quickest guys with the ball, Rudy, that you've seen some fast ones in your day. But even before then, there was Gus Williams, a guy that could get you 25 points a night, 6 or 7 assists. Just a player. He defended well. He wasn't very big, about 6'2", but he was very strong. Had a heck of a game. He played in the backcourt with Dennis Johnson, and most people of you know who the great Dennis Johnson is. Rest in peace. And you had another guard by the name of Downtown Freddie Brown. So you had 3 guards similar to Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and Vinny the Microwave Johnson. But Gus was a superb player, man. All the players in the NBA respected him. I got to watch him several times. Actually, Rudy, one of my sad moments, George was playing with the Spurs, and the Spurs were leading the Washington Bullets with Alvin Hayes and Bob Dandridge and Wes Unseld and those guys. And the Spurs were leading them 3 games to 1. And so me and my sister, my mom, my sister, myself, had already packed our bags, waiting for that last game. They could win that 4th game so we could head to Seattle. And so they end up, George and them blew game 5. And then, we get a little nervous, but we still had faith. And then they blow game 6. And so what happens, they go to game 7 in Washington. The game goes down to the end. Bobby Dandridge hits a big shot from the wing. The Spurs go on the other end. I was still upset. I love Larry Keenan, but George had 42 points that night. So the Spurs need a basket. Larry Keenan takes the last shot. He misses the shot. We lose the game. So instead of us, we had to unpack our bags. So instead of us heading to Seattle, the Washington Bullets headed to Seattle in our place. And Gus Williams was the best player on that team at the time.
Man, it's a tragedy to lose another NBA legend like Gus Williams. Gone, too soon, man. It's kind of weird. Yeah, we got to give props to him, man. It's kind of weird because the guy, I think it was 99.3 in Seattle, was doing the tribute to him. and I was able to get it off of 99.3 from Seattle. And he said, it hurts because the guys you grew up with are starting to pass away, and it becomes ever more realistic. And for me, I've had my share of players that I watched pass away. I haven't seen, that prime area where I was watching sports, everything where it's kind of come and gone right there. But one guy for sure that did pass that I was able to enjoy growing up was Bobby Euchre. And I mean, yeah, I wasn't able to listen to him on the radio on Milwaukee Brewers radio, but everybody got a taste of Bob on Major League, the movie.
Major League. Charlie Sheen.
If not for Bob, I don't know if those movies would have been good. Bob made those movies remember.
They would have been good. They wouldn't have been great because you got him on there playing like he's in the booth and he's a little oiled up. I'll call it. They got him playing like he's drunk in the booth, and the show would have been good, but with him, it made it great.
Yeah, it was great with him. Just a bit outside. Ball 4, ball 7, ball 8, ball 9, ball 12, and Vaughn has walked. The bases loaded. That is Bob Euchre, man. Legend gone at
Rudy,
90 years old.
You can't think of a funnier guy. I can't. To have that role, and to come back from a baseball background, the Milwaukee Brewers and all that, and then to go into doing not being an announcer and all that in the booth. And then to go become an actor like that. And the guy was just fantastic, man. He's one of the funnier guys. Just a heck of a man. Overall, on a serious note, a very good man. And he will be missed. And I was sad today when I heard the news because I heard both of them not long after each other. I heard about Gus Williams, and then I heard about Bob Euchre. So, yeah, I was sad. It's been a sad day for me today, but he lived 90 years, so that's the positive part. 90 years on this earth.
I can guarantee you Bob was probably smiling the entire way, no matter what. Just a real down-to-earth guy. A guy that, I've never had a chance to meet him, but if I ever did, just knowing how he would be joking around and just loving life, man. Bob Euchre, Gus Williams, both gone today. The sports world, mourning the loss of both of those guys. Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr. It's NBA night. It's Throwback Thursday, Derek. We're talking NBA tonight. No NFL, no CFP. We're going to give that a break because the fans are wanting basketball talk. And we're going to get right into it. Not about point guards yet. Tim wants to know, apparently you have an A-Train story that you were supposed to tell us. I can't remember which one it was, but it seems like you do. It was the A-Train story.
All right, Mr. Duke Blue Devil. Tim, first of all, good evening. Okay, 1985, I believe it was.
Okay.
They had, at that time, they had what they call the Athlete of the Year in San Antonio. And so the fans were voting on the award. And after the year, when they finished and they tallied all the votes, I was the winner. So I was the San Antonio Athlete of the Year. So with that comes a banquet. So at that time, our banquet was at the Wyndham over off of Wurzbach and 10.
Yeah.
And so we have the banquet. One of the guests was Steve Gutenberg. If some of you don't know who that is, you can look it up. He used to play on this show called Barney Miller. So we got Steve Gutenberg there. We got a guy named Marvin Hamlish, played the movie The Sting with Robert Redford. So he was the piano player, very known. And so it was a very good event. But on the way to the event, we're going up the elevator. So I got to go in the elevator. So it's myself, it's George Gervin, and it's Artis Gilmore. I get on the elevator, man, and I'm feeling good about myself. And I can't leave out Lynn Swan. I'm sorry, Mr. Swan. Lynn Swan was also at the banquet, one of the guests. So we get in the elevator. I'm on my way up the stairs into the elevator so we can go up. And I shake hands with Artis Gilmore. Man, Rudy, have you ever taken your hand and just squirrels an egg? What's something you name? what's those like things that you can scratch? They like fake eggs, and you can squeeze them, and you hear them crack.
Oh,
they look
God,
like
man.
eggs. They are eggs, but they don't have anything inside of them. So you squeeze and you break them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you break them and you hear them crack, right?
Yeah.
So when artist grabs my hand, man, I swear, I was just glad he was a friend. That man swallowed my hand up, man. He squeezed my hand. I almost went down to my knees, man. Artist is a comedian, for you guys that don't know. Him and Alvin Robertson used to wrestle when they were with the Spurs. Really? So he likes having fun. He's got a comedic side to him. And when he squeezed my hand, Rudy, I really wanted to almost cry. But of course, I had to kind of play it off and act like, I'm a big boy. I'm like 21 at the time. And I've never in my life, from that day forward, every time I shake someone's hand, I make sure I give them a strong handshake. And I prepare myself so they don't try that Artist Gilmore move on me again. And it's stuck with me for 40 years now. Thank you, Artist. You taught me something in life.
Man, Artist Gilmore, I can imagine you shaking the hand and then just crack, 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 crack. Like, oh my God.
Oh boy, crack. And easy too, Rudy. I mean, easy. I mean, the A-Train is one of the strongest guys to ever play. There's a lot of people talk about Shaq. And Shaq was so strong because of all his girth, the 290, 300 pounds or whatever. But then you have guys with just natural men's strength. And Artist Gilmore is one of those guys, just natural man's strength. And yeah, he did a job on my hand. I'm telling you. I'm glad I didn't have a game that night.
Oh my God. There's your A-Train story there, Tim. You definitely thank Derek for that A-Train story. So what we were going to talk about first was point guards. You gave me a call earlier. You said, hey, who's the most athletic point guard? You named a couple. And, my first thing was I didn't go off of Ja. I mean, we know how athletic Ja is. I was going old school. So mentioning, guys like Baron Davis, you mentioned Penny Hardaway, Derrick Rose, minus the injuries. Derrick Rose is very, very explosive, very athletic. Russell Westbrook. Now, Russ is a very athletic athlete. I still don't consider Russ a point guard. I think I just consider him a guard. I can't say point guard, but a lot of people are going to consider Russ a point guard. They're going to consider him one of the best and most athletic. But the Ja Morant there, what other guys are we going to talk about when it comes to athleticism at point guard? And people think, well, Ja's got to be number one. Let me show you why Ja is probably going to be number one on the list.
Points for the Grizzlies. A lot of late game situations. Ja in the late game situation. That won't count, but we love it. My goodness. Ja talking about late game situations, said those possessions, we got to value the possessions more. We got to have more possessions. We got to limit offensive boards. We got to execute correctly. Ja's got 17 points the last two fourth quarters. And
yeah, so bringing it back, the athleticism that Ja Morant has, and a lot of people say that wasn't a dunk. It's a dunk. I mean, I consider it a dunk. So for me, looking at all the point guards in history, Ja Morant got to be up there, number one. Baron Davis is one that definitely is on my list. He's number two, I think, for athleticism for me. Now, we're not talking like all-time point guard because John Stockton, not athletic. Mark Price is athletic, but not as athletic as Ja Morant. Same with Isaiah Thomas, stuff like that. So we're not talking all-time point guards. We're talking all-time athletic point guards, Derek.
Stevie Francis, I have to throw him in there as well.
That's another one.
These guys were all amazing. And Penny was athletic. Penny had the height. You and I talked about that earlier. Penny was 6'7", but he was still a point guard. But when you factor in most of those guys, I told you all of them basically went off 2 feet. And I'm even throw another one in there. He's smaller, but we do remember him dunking on Elijah Wan by the name of Kevin Johnson.
There he is.
KJ.
About Kevin Johnson. Yeah.
Oh, he just look. We said it at the same time. Look at Tim. So KJ, but yeah, Ja has taken it to another level. Not even that dunk he did on Victor. We've seen him make like 3 or 4 plays this year where he's cocked the ball back, and a couple times he's turned around and did a 180 or whatever and laid it up with the left hand. And I mean, the guy is amazing, man. When I see him go to the basket, I bet you Victor counts that as a dunk, even though the whistle blew first. I bet you Victor counts that as a dunk. If we don't count that as a dunk, that means we have to take away the Dwight Howard dunk in the All-Star in the dunk contest. We have to take away about 10 Blake Griffin's dunks. So when you're over the rim like that and you're throwing it in, that means you're over the rim and you're throwing the ball down. So for me, that's a dunk. And so, yeah, I would say of all those guys we named, Ja, man, just spectacular. We kind of saw it in college. I think he went to Murray State or something. But we saw some flashes in college. But once he got to the pros, when he's healthy, man, he's a beast. And you know what name? One name I didn't mention, we left out Derrick Rose.
Yeah,
it's the MVP.
Derrick Rose.
Okay, so Derrick Rose. And then, but I still have to put Ja at the top of the list, man. Some of the stuff he's done has been absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, we got some comments in here. Now, Tim has been commenting. Appreciate Tim. Sith is in here. The Doctor of Style, Sith, is in here. Shout out to Sith. And Down for the Count, because him and Brandon Medina are going to be doing Down for the Count Wrestling. And also, Sith is joining me on STL 316 Wrestling from time to time. Mario Cavazos, appreciate you being in here as well. Now, again, he mentions Allen Iverson. Tim was mentioning Allen Iverson. Mario's also talking about Isaiah Thomas. So what we were talking about, Mario, was not necessarily the best point guards. Isaiah Thomas would be up in the best point guard. We're talking the most athletic point guards. Now, Isaiah was athletic, but he wasn't no John Morant. He wasn't a Baron Davis. Wasn't, the dunking type of guy or nothing like that. He was athletic in his own way. Allen Iverson, again, great ball handle, but not athletic. Could get up on a dunk, but not the explosive that we're talking about. So we're talking the most athletic point guards right now. So appreciate you joining us, Mario. Be sure to drop those comments in there. Tim says he spent 2 years at Murray State. Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs. Wish me luck tomorrow, dudes, hosting the San Antonio Winter Comic-Con. Comic-Con is this weekend. So Comic-Con is this weekend at the Henry B. Convention Center. Jeff's going to be out there. He's going to be hosting it as well. So if you're out there, say hi to Jeff. I don't know. Maybe I could try to get Derek a ticket if he's not too busy.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm jealous, man. Another Comic-Con. Hell,
Jeff,
I got my interview skills down, man, just for Comic-Con.
There you go. We had him at the last Comic-Con. Maybe Jeff can get you a ticket too. Maybe we'll see if he can get you a ticket. Then maybe we can head out there and maybe do a little more interviews, man. So I appreciate you, Jeff. Good luck on that tomorrow. Isaiah Thomas, who played at the Washington Huskies. No, Tim, we're not talking about that Isaiah Thomas. We're talking about
He's going by the correct spelling, though. That spelling is the Isaiah Thomas that played Washington State. The other Isaiah is just ISIAH, the Isaiah from Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, it's the spelling, right, that everyone gets everybody mixed up on. Louis from La Cocina Taco Truck. Shout out to Louis, man. D Rose is definitely one of the most athletic point guards. If not for injury, where does D Rose fall, Derek?
I would have Derek up there. That's tough for me because between Russ. Well, you got Baron Davis, first of all, and you got Derrick Rose and Stevie Franchise. It's tough between those three. I put Ja above all of them because Ja, man, I mean, he might even throw it down on 7-footer backwards. He starts off cocking it, and next thing you know, he turn around dunking it backwards, man. He's going by the rim. Ja is doing it like he's doing for fun. And the funniest thing is, if you remember, a month ago, he said he was going to stop dunking. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember that.
And ever since he said that, I don't even know why he said that, man. Maybe he was just trying to do some April Fools on people. He said he was going to stop dunking, and then you pull off stuff like this. Maybe we shouldn't call it a dunk. This is his other form of not dunking, but I'm just going to throw it in now. So, yeah, I got D Rose up there, but it would be more of a conversation between D Rose, Baron Davis, and Stevie Francis for me. But Ja, I got to put number one, man. I've seen too much already in a short period of time.
So you're ranking them now. If I put you on the spot and said you have to rank them, now we know Ja's one, but where do the others fall in? Because
if I have to rank them, and we're going by a healthy Derrick Rose, I got Derrick Rose second.
Well, no, I'm talking, forget the healthiness part. We know Derrick was unhealthy and he had some injuries. So let's add the health part, because people say a healthy Derrick Rose would have been this and this.
No, I'm still going by the year he was healthy. I have Derrick Rose second. I mean, because he's another one that was throwing it down, could throw it down backwards on you. So I would have Ja first. I would have Derrick Rose second. I would have Baron Davis third. I would have Stevie Francis fourth. I got to put Penny in there. Penny's 6'7" or whatever. So I would have Penny 5. And I think I'm leaving out one. But those would be my guys. But Ja definitely would be number one for me. And then Derrick Rose.
Yeah. I mean, I know if we're going to count injuries, and I would probably.
I left out Kevin Johnson. My bad. I'm sorry. I left out KJ. So I would have K. I'm going to even put KJ over Penny, because Penny's 6'7". So I hate to penalize you, Penny, but I am. You'll get over it. You're coaching right now. You're doing well. So
I think that's what I mentioned to you earlier. It's like, we can call Penny, but Penny's going to be athletic. He's 6'7". I mean, we're talking athletic guys. Ja's nowhere near there. Baron Davis is nowhere near that. So, I mean, you kind of penalize Penny Hardaway right there. Jeff saying this PhD is level nerdiness. So basically this Comic-Con is straight anime, Derek. We're not going to get the Karate Kid stuff. We're not going to get all this other stuff. We're getting just straight anime here. So when you have to dive deep into to Nerdville on this Comic-Con.
Isn't that stuff your daughter likes?
My daughter is a huge anime fan, so she wants to go.
I'm just making sure I pay attention. Yeah, I'm just making sure I pay attention. Yeah.
Prime D Rose versus Prime Ja Morant. Who wins? That's a good one.
Dunk contest, Tim. Dunk contest. I'll have to take Ja. I'm telling you, man. I've seen Ja. They talk about all these guys with these high verticals. So why is Ja not mentioned when they talking guys jumping 40 inches and all that stuff? I think Ja got up a little higher than Derrick Rose, and I think he has a little more creativity than Derrick Rose. So, yeah, I would take Ja. I can't take any of those guys over Ja in the dunk contest.
So not in the dunk contest, say one-on-one.
One-on-one, now that's a different story. One-on-one, I think Derrick Rose is too strong for Ja Morant. Yeah. So I would take Derrick Rose in a one-on-one contest.
Derrick Rose has a quicker first step. Correct.
And he's just so strong. Derrick Rose had a body like a Vinnie Johnson with athleticism. Ooh. So I think that would be too much for Ja. He'd be knocking Ja around on his way to the basket. I don't think Ja could even get in there and block his shot, because I think D Rose will put that body on him first. And, yeah, Derrick's was too strong for Ja.
Yeah, we're talking to Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, UTSA Hall of Famer Rudy Campos Jr. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Shoot the League TV, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It's NBA Throwback Night. We're talking all NBA tonight. We're throwing it back very, very far as we can go here with Derek Gervin. Jeff saying, do we count the poster as a poster on Wemby? He shot put it in, not rim rattle. So earlier, Jeff, we said that's a dunk. You're above the rim. That's a dunk. What do the kids say? I'm going to mispronounce it. Hang it in the lavore. Hang that in the lavore, in my opinion. That's a classic dunk.
How about this then? We'll call it a throwdown.
I like that. He threw it down. Throw it down, big man. Throw it down. That's the way. The Bill Walton right there. Rest in peace, Bill Walton. Throw it down, big man.
That was pretty good there, my sir. Hey, man, that was good. That's a heck of a shout out to Bill Walton. That was good, Rudy.
You know what? Bill Walton was one of my favorite color commentators. I used to listen to him all the time. You know, Bill Walton,
Dead.
man, the Grateful Dead. But, you know, I would be watching a game, Bill Walton be calling it, whether it be college or NBA, and you just kind of get the random, you know, before the game starts, he's like, you know, we have the Lakers, we have the Spurs, you have the dominance of a Tim Duncan going up against the almighty beast Shaquille O'Neal. But I guarantee you one thing, whoever scores the most points at the end of the game is going to win the game. And then he would just stop.
Shout out to Rudy with the with the impression. That's very impressive. Very impressive, sir. I'm a huge Bill Walton fan. Very impressive.
Thank you. Bill Walton's one of the guys that I do like to talk about a lot just because of his commentary, man. But huge Bill Walton fan.
You know, my brother came in second to him in one of the MVP votings, right?
Yeah, I remember you telling me that was when he was in.
I was kind of upset at first, but then I said, hell, that's Bill Walton, man. Because Bill only played 50-something games that year for Portland. I think he played like 57 games. And, you know, today that wouldn't qualify him. But he still had a very effective 57 games. So I got over it. And so did George.
I know. Poor Bill Walton, man. He did that. Now, this comment here, I'm going to assume he meant to type guy and not the GAY word. So I'm not going to play the comment, but he said it was his father's guy. I'm not sure which player that was, but I won't make that comment here. Penny, Tim Gonzalez is talking about Penny. Mario Cavazos is back in here. Who has been the most athletic player to wear a Spurs uniform? Derek Anderson or Dominique Wilkins, or wait, must be David Robinson. So the most athletic player to wear a Spurs. Now, Dominique Wilkins, we can't really say because that was end of the career Dominique Wilkins, even though he did average 20 in the silver and black in that year. Derek Anderson, pretty athletic. David Robinson, massively athletic. Are we forgetting anybody? Now, George was athletic, but
in his younger days, George was pretty athletic, yeah.
But who else could we be talking about when it comes to Spurs and athleticism?
You don't have to go much further. It doesn't matter because when you got Dave in there, a guy who could win the races, win the rookies. I was actually talking about him today on that show I did when the guy from France interviewed me earlier today. Mm-hmm. I was talking about how David Robinson and Kevin Willis were actually winning the sprints. And so for me, it would be Dave because Dave could walk on his hands all the way from one end of the court to the other. And that takes an athlete. And as we know, he ran up and down the floor like a guard. So for me, it would be unequivocally David Robinson, the Admiral.
Yeah, I think I would take David Robinson as the most athletic guy to ever wear a Spurs uniform.
Hey, Richard Jefferson was here for a short period of time.
Oh, I don't know if we consider Richard Jefferson a Spur, man, just because he wore the uniform.
Well, I consider, he was here. So, I mean, you talking about athleticism, you got to at least factor in when he was here. We know Jason Kidd to Richard Jefferson became a thing with the Nets the year they went to the championship with Lawrence Frank and I believe Jason Kidd. So I can at least give him a shout out, Richard Jefferson. But David Robinson, number one.
Yeah, the most athletic guy in a Spurs uniform, David Robinson. Appreciate the comment there about Mario Cavazos. And Tim's getting on my case because I don't call you the Detroit legend. I say UTSA Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Tim.
I'll get it in there, Tim. I promise, man. Dennis Johnson, was he an athletic as guard?
Dennis didn't jump very high. He could throw it down occasionally, but I would say Isaiah Thomas was more athletic than Dennis Johnson.
Yeah.
And I should have put Isaiah in there because Isaiah's not very big, but if you remember, Isaiah could throw it down as well. But DJ, I won't say more athletic. DJ was more like fundamentally sound type guy. He wasn't going to be doing the acrobatics and all that kind of thing. But, rest in peace, Dennis Johnson, because Dennis Johnson is one of the greatest guards, one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA.
Can I name an athletic guard to everybody out there? And I probably guarantee that they're going to be like, who? Let's go to the Rocky Mountain. Let's go to Denver. And a guy by the name of Robert Pack. If you want to talk about a little guy throwing it down on some of the mountains in the league, Go look up Robert Pack from the Denver Nuggets. That guy could get up, Derek, and I'm talking way up there against the Mountains.
Right. If we just did like guards, I would start mentioning. I feel bad we haven't mentioned any Caucasian guys, so I'm gonna mention one. If we just talking guards, a guy by the name from Kentucky by the name of Rex Chapman.
Oh God, Rex Chapman, yes, all day Rex Chapman.
I couldn't leave Rex out of there because I'm just thinking about Rex flying through the air with the greatest of ease. And his expectations were high. Some people say he didn't live up to them, but if you're talking about just flat out athleticism, Rex definitely was one of those guys.
Golly, Rex Chapman, man, Rex was, and he even did he?
Hey, that's a good one, Rudy. Lonnie, that's a good one.
Lonnie Walker, yeah, Lonnie Walker's a good one.
That's a good one. I think Lonnie's playing over. Did Lonnie go overseas? I think Lonnie went overseas to play.
He did. Lonnie went overseas.
Yeah, Lonnie's that's a good one there. That's a good one, Jeff. Lonnie definitely belongs in there.
Do you think he got the short end of the stick with the Spurs?
Honestly, if you remember, if I remember, I told you I didn't think that they should have got rid of Lonnie. I like Lonnie. Yeah, and Lonnie's a guy that doesn't cause any problems in the locker room. If you saw him, the Lakers appreciated him, and then they let him go, which I don't understand, but he had his breakout season with the Lakers. And then he goes to my old team, to the Nets. And we know how that usually goes with the Nets. We've already been through it with Ben Simmons, Harden, KD, Kyrie. But, yeah, I think Lonnie got the bad end of the stick. And I really think he should be I don't even think it, I know it. He should be in the league right now. I don't know why Boston didn't give him more of a chance when he went there last year. I think Lonnie definitely got the short end of the stick, and I think Lonnie Walker's an NBA player.
Yeah, it's crazy because, I wasn't a fan of Lonnie Walker, but when I looked at it, I thought, man, I think under different circumstances, he should have remained a Spur. I think he got the short end of the stick. It was just kind of bad timing coming in drafted right after the whole Kawhi Leonard thing went on with the Spurs. It was just kind of the transition part with Lonnie coming in. So, yeah, he's playing overseas. He's going to come back. An NBA team's going to want him. He's doing really too good way over there overseas. So I expect Lonnie to come back. Robert Pack is a name he has not heard in a long time, according to Tim Gonzalez. JC checking in, Jens. What is up, JC? Special Leave T, man. Shout out to JC and Special Leave T, doing a great thing out there. Appreciate you, man. Mark Cavazos, Tracy McGrady for the minute he was in San Antonio. T-Mac's an athletic guard, but athletic point guard, no, I can't put him in the point guard spot. And I haven't heard of Elliot Perry in a long
time. Memphis.
Man.
Elliot Perry, Memphis.
He had the long socks on, didn't he? He wore the knee highs.
Yeah, he wore the high. I wonder if he copied my brother. I don't know because, George wore the high socks. And then some of the other guys, I know one guy that copied George for sure. Do you remember Walt Williams?
Yeah, the Wizard. Now, not the Gus Williams Wizard, but the Wizard.
Walt Williams. Walt was about 6'6". He wore those high socks just because of George. And I wish I could ask Elliot Perry, did he do it as well? Because, George wore, but the difference was they wore like 2 pair of socks. George wore like 7 or 8 pair of socks.
Really?
Yes.
Holy cow. I didn't know that.
That's probably why he didn't have many ankle injuries.
That would make a lot of sense. Holy cow, that would make a ton of sense. Now, I didn't even stop.
And the guy put on layers of socks. Unbelievable. People are like, Derek, you making that up. And I'm like, why would I make it up? He's my brother. I don't get anything out of it by lying to you. Yeah, he wore about 8 pair of socks, man.
Oh, my God. We're talking to Detroit legend. You happy, Tim? Detroit legend and UTSA Hall of Famer, co-host of Sweep the League. I'm the other co-host, Rudy Campos Jr. This is our show.
You're a legend as well, man. Stop it. You're a legend in my eyes. That's it.
If I'm a legend in your eyes and I've made it in the world, that's it. I'm done. We're gonna call it a night. No, I'm just playing. We still got a lot of time here, man, because talking about most athletic point guards, you've got the other guards that have come up. We're not talking top point guards, because then we get into Magic, we get into Isaiah Thomas, we'll get into Mark Price, John Stockton. I mean, you go long and long and long. Oscar Robertson, Jason Kidd. Notice I haven't mentioned Steph Curry, but you've got Steve Nash, Chris Paul. I'm going to ask you a bold question before I take you into NBA unicorn talk here. Where does Steph rank if you put him in a point guard position? Let's cause controversy here.
He doesn't rank very high for me if you put him in a point guard position, because the point guard's main job is to get everyone else involved.
Yeah.
And that's really, Steph was more of a guy that got everyone involved by his movement without the ball, so that he could put it, get himself in a position to score, and the other guys played off of that. As a pure point guard, I can't put him in there at all, because he only averages for his career 6 assists. And, I love Steph just like everyone else, but how many point guards you going to call elite when they average 6 assists? So I don't consider him. I told you I consider him as a shooting guard. As a point guard, I don't rank him very high. There's too many other guys out there that I will rank way over Steph Curry as a pure point guard.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody considers, all the kids these days, Steph's the best point guard I've ever seen. It's not really a point guard, man. And, it's no...
Draymond is more of a point guard for the Warriors than Steph.
It's not a disrespect. And I think people feel like you can kind of say, well, it's disrespectful to Steph to not consider him point guard. No, it's not. I mean, the guy's an amazing athlete. He's changed the game. I mean, now, like Isaiah Thomas said on an interview, I believe it was with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, he basically said, back in the day, you were practicing Magic's passes, Bird's jumper, Jordan's flying through the air. Now, those were oohs and ahs. Now, those are just, you dunk on somebody, you do a dunk, Now it's ooh and ah for the step back three from the logo three, because of Steph Curry. So he has changed the game, and it's no disrespect.
That's a shooter.
But yeah, we just don't put him in the point guard position.
What does Stephen A. Smith and everybody else say? The greatest shooter God has ever created. Have you ever heard him once say the greatest point guard?
No. I don't.
Okay, and I'm gonna prove something to people about Steph not being a point guard. I'm gonna go to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The year that Philadelphia made the finals against the Lakers, Allen Iverson, prior to that, Larry Brown Iverson was trying to play the point guard, right?
Yeah.
When did they make the finals? Wasn't it when they inserted Eric Snow as the point guard?
Yeah, because Eric Snow is the point guard.
Iverson was not a true point guard, and trying him at the point guard didn't work. I don't even think Jalen Brunson today is a point guard, to be honest with it. Mm-hmm. Today, you got these guys that are combo guards. They're thinking score before they're thinking creating for everyone else. And I'm old school, so I'm going to go by the real definition of a point guard. That's making, like Mo Cheeks. That's a point guard. Mo Cheeks might not take 5 shots in a game. Yeah. You're distributing, you're getting everyone in their spots, and you're doing what you're supposed to do to make everyone around you better. And that's what a point guard is. Steph is not really making the other guys better. Draymond is the one making them better. And even who does the handoffs to Steph when Steph comes off the pin downs and all that, and he comes to the top of the key? Isn't that Draymond?
That's Draymond. Yeah.
Who's distributing the ball like Jokic, usually at the top of the key? That's Draymond.
Yeah.
That's your guy that's the guy who initiates the offense. That's not Steph Curry. Steph not even bringing the ball down the floor most times. He's giving it up, and then he's running down so he can get ready to run off screens like a Rip Hamilton or Ray Allen or Reggie Miller. That's not a point guard.
That is true. Jeff's back in here. Man, the point guard talk is on fire tonight. Would you consider Captain Late in athletics?
Before he got hurt, yes, James Silas. Mm-hmm. Before he got hurt, Silas would throw it down, but he wasn't throwing it down very often. Si was about 6'2", not the highest jumper, but occasionally guys like that have flashes. And, it's just like George. George dunked. You expect him to lay it up, and then all of a sudden he's booming on you.
Yeah.
So, occasionally Silas would get one of those. But I'm not going to put him in there with guys like Baron Davis. You remember, Jeff, I'm sure you remember the dunk, Baron Davis on Karolinko.
Ooh,
And so that's an athlete to me. Karolinko had told Baron Davis, they had a conversation in one of the games prior, and whatever happened, he got a little heated. So he told Baron, like, you're not coming to the basket, on me. AK-47 wasn't having it. And then lo and behold, as the season went on, Barron sees him. As you know, Barron's on the wing. And who does he see near the basket? Andre AK-47 Karolinko. And the rest is history. BD, Baron Davis. That's what I call an athletic point guard.
Yeah, funny that Tim's bringing this up. Jeff, if you're still on the stream, which I'm sure you are on the stream, you may like this next topic I'm going to drop on Derek. We are talking NBA. It's an NBA throwback night. We're going to throw it back to the smallest player to now one of the tallest players. What are we doing here? We're going to talk about that here in just a second. He's mentioning Muggsy, the little man, Tim Gonzalez, very athletic. And keep that same fire when it comes to Muggsy Bogues, because we're going to mention him in just a minute. Mario Cavazos, do you all think Stephon Castle is more athletic than what we have seen so far? I see some surprising outback dunks from this time to time. Yeah. 100%, yeah. I really feel. And that's why if you go back on Locked On Spurs, shout out to Locked On Spurs, before the draft even happened, I had Stephon Castle ranked number 1 on my prospect list. You're seeing why, Derek. Stephon Castle, athletic?
Yes, for sure. He was athletic at Connecticut, though. He just giving him more opportunities. Yeah, he's going to be posterizing some guys. He actually already has. Yeah. And he'll continue to get better. The more comfortable he gets and the more the Spurs, ingratiate him with that offense to get him involved more like he was early in the year. Yeah, he's definitely an athlete. The guy can get up there in the rafters. So, yes, he's an athlete.
James Silas. JC's in here. Silas was 6'6" with the afro. Easy. I got the tall boy cards to prove it.
What's Silas?
I'm assuming he's talking about Captain Lane.
No, not even close. I know his family very well, and I still talk to his family today. No, not even close to 6'6". Not James Silas. Maybe with the hair, okay.
That's what he's saying with the afro.
So you're
going
giving him 4
up.
inches of you're giving him 4 inches of hair. Then okay.
So we're talking point guards, and it's funny because one of the conversations that came up today on my stream was involving a point guard, and it's unicorn talk, Derek. Very interesting topic here. Let's play the clip.
Who's the bigger unicorn, y'all? Muggsy Bogues or Victor Wembanyama?
It's not Victor. It's Muggsy.
Mars, we got a dude this big who's got the best assist to turnover ratio in NBA history. He played 15 years in the NBA. At barely over 5 feet tall. The league is going to be the league is about to be a bunch of Wembies in like the next 10 to 15 years. I don't think in my lifetime I'm ever going to see Muggsy again. Ever.
Talk heavy.
I didn't see anything like Muggsy before. I haven't seen anything like Muggsy since. Like I said, defender that he was, distributor that he was, playmaker that he was, at that small of a stature, at that size, and to be able to stick around the league for as long as he did and do what he did for as long as he did, and not just in the pros. I'm talking about in college too, Miles. I don't know if you noticed, but the year after he left Wake Forest, he's the all-time leading assist man in ACC history. And the ACC is a big-time league. I don't think that I'm ever going to see nobody like that again. And again, that dude is this big.
You already did. Julian Newman. He just ain't got a chance to get to the NBA yet. You already did. Julian Newman. He just ain't got a chance to get to the NBA yet.
Julian Newman. Who does he play for?
Facts.
I can't believe we got a Julian Newman drop there, man. But, the unicorn thing, man. You're talking the unicorn and Muggsy Bogues. I mean, you have to look at it because Muggsy, you're not going to see another Muggsy at all. That's the crazy part. So if we're talking unicorn, it's got to be Muggsy Bogues, man. He's right. Shout out to Chilltown Hoops. He's right. You're going to see more Victor. We see Chet. You're going to see more Victor Wembanyama type players coming out. It's going to be full of them. But you're never going to see a Muggsy Bogues, 5'3" guy, have a long career and have a dominant career at that.
You're never going to see another Muggsy. He had everybody in the league. Today they got Mike Alvarado, with the Pelicans, but he stands over there in the corner and he sneaks up on guys. Muggsy's playing you right there, 94 feet. Even at DeMatha, he was a terror when he was in DeMatha in high school. And then he goes to Wake Forest and then to the NBA. I've been on the court with him, actually played a lot of minutes. I did when we played Charlotte. And, man, I'm telling you, I think I was a pretty good ball handler in my career. I made sure to look over that floor before I put it on the ground and to see where Muggsy Bogues was. You talk about a terror. I want you to picture this. You and I always talk about Alvin Robertson.
Yeah.
Who's 6'4".
Yeah.
So imagine a guy who's 5'3", who's 13 inches shorter than Alvin, and you're worried about him just as much as Alvin when it comes to protecting the ball. There'll never be another Muggsy Bogues. And to top it off, he was the sharpest dressing guy in the league at that time. The guy's just different. You even look at him today, Rudy. I don't know if you've been watching him.
Yeah.
He's enjoying family life now, and he's been doing TikTok videos with his family.
Yeah, he is.
And he's on there dancing and all of that, man. So Muggsy's one of the coolest guys under the sun, man. And things haven't changed. Just a heck of a player. And you're right. We'll see more Victor Wembanyama's, more. We'll even see a LeBron James type player before we see another Muggsy Bogues type player.
Yeah, you'll never see another Muggsy Bogues type player ever again. Same like for Spud Webb. I mean, he's 5'7". It'd be tough to see that. But if you compare Spud to Muggsy,
now Spud, that's a little different because they had a guy named Charlie Chris. He used to play the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, he did.
And then you had Michael Adams.
Michael Adams,
so
yeah.
I could kind of put them somewhat with Spud. There's no one that I could think of to put with Muggsy Bogues. And then with you mentioned Spud. Remember, I could also throw in Earl Boykins, who played the same school George went to, Eastern Michigan. But there's nobody that I could put in there for Muggsy Bogues. Not even one guy.
Yeah,
I can think of putting in there.
You'll never see another Muggsy Bogues. There's no way you'll ever see. And then you get the Julian Newman guy at the end. Really, Julian Newman?
That was comical, man. Julian is stinking it up right now. I love him because he's a young guy. He's at some Bethesda college right now, and he's not even playing well there. He's hitting the side of the backboard and stuff like that. So that's a guy that was a little too arrogant for himself, and he hasn't had the career, even 1/10 of the career that some people projected for him. I don't know where they ever saw it, but he's at Bethesda College, and he's not playing so great.
When you can make a highlight reel of just your highlights, you can make yourself look really, really good. That's what happened with Julian Newman.
He's making highlights at Bethesda. You can pull them up. They're not good highlights, though.
No. Yeah, there's nothing to write home about. That is for sure. Mario Cavazos is back in here. You're never going to see another Dwayne Shintz's, rest in peace, unicorn hairstyle business.
The mullet, man. I played against him and Sean before they became Spurs. The year they were becoming Spurs, we had a game over at the YMCA on Rosedale and General McMullen.
The West Side Y on Reese.
You familiar with that area?
Yeah, I used to live down the street from there by St. Mary's University.
Well, at that YMCA right there on Rosedale, we played a game before Shinsius and Sean had actually become Spurs. That same year, we played a game over there, and I never forget scoring on Dwayne, man. And then I would just look at him like, I try not to laugh, not because I scored on him. The mullet was killing me, man.
Oh, man. My first experience was the year that Dwayne Shintz's was drafted by the Spurs. That was my first year that I was at Spurs camp, which was held over at Blossom Athletic Center at the time. Dwayne Shintz's showed up there, and we were all begging him to dunk the ball. He dunked the ball. That was my first and only experience with Dwayne Shintz's was at the Spurs camp. Who we got in here? Jeff Garcia.
I'm quizzing you. I'm quizzing all of you right quick. Don't cheat. No Google. No Google, please. Do not cheat. Okay. None of you cheat. Where did Dwayne Shintz's go to college?
I know the answer, but I I'm not going to say it. Drop it in the comments.
These guys don't know. They really don't know. Somebody's going to Google. They don't know where he played in college.
I can say it, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not even.
All right, go ahead, man. Tell everybody where Tim Tebow went. Where did Dwayne go?
University of Florida, man.
University of Florida.
Got it. Lockdown Spurs was first. It was University of Florida. He said it right there. University of Florida. So Tim said Kansas now. Far from it, Tim. Far from Kansas. Jeff wants to know, do you consider Jonathan Simmons as the most athletic Spur? He was an athletic guy. I don't know if he's the most athletic, though. No,
I wouldn't put him over David Robinson. I put him one of the most athletic. The question would be, who would you take, Lonnie Walker or Jonathan Simmons? That would be the more of a question for me. But for most athletic, I got to take Dave, because Dave being a 7'1" guy and having the athleticism that he had with those guns, I call them, the muscles, and a guy that could outrun guards and could walk on his hands. I've actually seen him walk on his hands. For me, that's as athletic as it gets.
I'm going to ask an off-ball question with David Robinson. Take out the three-point shooting. Is Victor Wembanyama basically David Robinson?
No, because David was even more physical than Victor. Victor, to me, reminds me more of Porzingis than he does of David Robinson.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. That's a really good comparison right there. I had to ask you on that. And Mark Cavazos, Rosedale Park. Wow, I live down the road. Mario, where do you live? Because my childhood home, I grew up by St. Mary's University on Bradford down the street. So I lived in the General McMullen Bandera area, and I lived there for years. I mean, way too long. So that was my childhood home. I just moved from there recently. So about a couple of years back. So yeah, I don't know.
Rosedale is going strong. Hey, don't they still have concerts? Because I know they've had Baby Bash there and several other nice concerts. Shout out to Rosedale Park.
Yeah, shout out to Rosedale. It was every Sunday they had like a Tejano explosion or something there. Just about every Sunday you could go to Rosedale, have the lowrider shows. They had the Tejano shows where we would go. Our parents would be in the big pavilion. We'd be playing along the hill, playing on the playground, everything like that. Man, Rosedale Park, that's itself on its own. Johnson had more excitement dunks than Lonnie. True. Derek, did you ever see 5-0 workout? I heard he never did heavyweight, but just did a ton of lightweight reps.
Yeah, I used to work out with the Spurs the whole Tim Duncan's rookie year. I worked out with the Spurs. We used to work out at the gym on Callahan and Fredericksburg called Full Life. Now it's Gold's Gym. Yeah, I saw Dave. I used to talk. Say it again.
The one on the corner behind the bank?
Yeah, right over there on Wurzbach and Callahan. Yeah. It used to be called Gold's Gym. It's right across the street from some apartments.
Yeah.
It's that's where the Spurs used to work out. And Dave, I used to be there every day. I used to see Dave. Dave and I actually talked sometime when he was lifting weights. He didn't do the heavy lifting. Just like he said, he did the he was about reps. Him and his brother Chuck. Chuck used to always come as well. And that's Tim's 1997, I would say. Yeah, Tim's rookie year.
97.
And so I was there with those guys for the whole summer. And if they don't believe me, they can even look at the roster. Terry Porter was on the roster at that time.
Yeah.
So I watched Dave work out, and he did the reps, man. And it's amazing. We never talked basketball, but when we used to talk, man, I used to be saying, "Damn, man, how this guy get those guns like that?" So we've had the two guys with the most guns in the league history, haven't we, Rudy? When you got Dave Robinson and Kevin Willis.
Oh yeah, Kevin Willis, man, beast, massive guns, man. But I'm going to tell you right now. I don't know if you've ever met Jeff Garcia in person. Jeff Garcia, he's got guns, man. He's David Robinson ripped. We'll put it that way. He's a ripped guy. I would rather
Karl Malone.
I think Jeff would probably take Karl Malone down with a Karl Malone elbow easily. Then
he could definitely take Victor down because Victor's never going to be there.
Oh my God, man. Tim's wanted to know when you'll be at Native Grill next. So may have to let Tim know here when you'll be at
I
Native
think
Grill.
Rudy and I are going to have to meet you at that Native Grill, Tim, because that's like the second or third time you've mentioned it. And you did tell us that the food's pretty good there.
I've never been. I need to try it. Next time I'm in San Antonio, I need to try Native Grill. He lived in General McMullen in West Commerce, a few blocks from St. Jude Catholic Church. So that would be, the Walgreens area, the Jack in the Boxes there, the Whataburgers on that corner. Yeah, man, that's not far from me at all. That's definitely.
Hey, Rudy, I've been in St. Jude before. My former girlfriend, I had a girlfriend from Cuba that I dated for 12 years. She took me to the church, and she went in there and she prayed and all that. And I went in with her. A very nice church. So I've been in St. Jude's, man. Shout out to St. Jude's. Definitely.
Shout out to St. Jude's. Nice church. Very nice church. Naval Academy made that, man. JC's right, man. Naval Academy did wonders for Dave Robinson, and Tim wants us to take Jeff Garcia with us when we go. Coming up to the end of the show here, we're going to have what we normally call, caught off guard moment, but I'm going to try to catch Derek off a little bit here. So, back in the day, I think it was 1995, if I'm not mistaken. And for those of you that don't know, Derek had a marvelous, a great, amazing international career. So if you think all we do is talk about NBA basketball, well, we talk NBA basketball, we talk international basketball. Well, a guy back in 95 was drafted by the Sacramento Kings. He's from Serbia, 6'9" guy. And if you think Luka Doncic was as good, if this guy would have played in the league, I think you would have probably said he would have been better than Luka and probably one of the better international players. Do you have an idea who I'm talking about without mentioning the name?
95.
Drafted by the Kings, 1995.
Drafted by Sacramento, but didn't come to the league. 95. I would have been, where would I probably don't know, because at 95, I was over in Israel. And so I wasn't really paying as much attention as I usually was. I was trying to get acclimated to my second year over there. Things weren't going so great. Wow, my second year over there. No, tell me. For one of the few times I'm stumped.
Well, let's see if we can stump Derek here. Here's the 95 draft pick.
Best basketball players that never played in the NBA. Back in 1995, the Sacramento Kings drafted a 6'9" Serbian forward named Dejan Bodiroga with the 51st overall pick. With his elite ball handling, court vision, and scoring ability, many thought he could potentially be a sleeper pick to become an NBA star one day. But instead, his career turned out to be completely different. You see, instead of playing in the NBA immediately, Bodiroga stayed in Europe, where he dominated. In the EuroLeague, he won 3 championships, 2 with Panathinaikos and 1 with FC Barcelona, and was named Finals MVP twice. His stats were just as impressive. In the 2001-2 season, he averaged 20.5 points per game, and across multiple seasons, he consistently ranked among the league's top scorers, where elite players like Luka Doncic claimed it was harder to score. On the international stage, Bodiroga led Yugoslavia to 2 FIBA World Cup gold medals and 3 Eurobasket titles. But if Bodiroga was so good, why didn't he ever play in the NBA? Well, the thing is, at first, Bodiroga valued control over his career. He didn't want to be just another role player in the NBA. In Europe, he was a superstar, a leader who could dictate the game. In the US, he would have likely been a solid role player, who may or may not develop into something. And with civil unrest going on at Yugoslavia at the time, Bodiroga also thought it would be best to stay by his family.
Dejan Bodiroga. So, Serbian guy.
Second best wing guy to ever play out of Yugoslavia behind Drazen Petrovic.
Yeah. Yeah, behind Drazen Petrovic. And that's the thing, Bodiroga, I love what his mind thought was, because superstar international, megastar overseas, obviously. But that's the problem, is that in that time, we didn't get those great international players because they would never get an opportunity, man. And we missed out on a lot of players internationally that could have been
not just the opportunity. They made it worth their while for them not to come to the NBA in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna tell you, Bodiroga, man, you talk about a player. Oh boy, the guy, you saw how versatile he was. The film doesn't really do him justice.
Yeah,
he was tearing guys up, man. I'm telling you, he was whooping some butt. First, like they said in Greece, he was kicking butt. And then I was more familiar with him as his career was, going on, and then he went to Barcelona, FC Barcelona, and man, the guy, spectacular. His game, it's only 3 guys I can name over there. Okay, I'm talking about just wing guys. You got Drazen, you got Oscar Schmidt, and I'm gonna put Bodiroga in that same category. I even thought that he wasn't as tall, but I'm gonna be honest. I thought he had more of an arsenal than Tony Kukoc.
Ooh, man, that's a hell of a compliment, because you saw how good Kukoc was. Bodiroga, I think, would have been at a very high level had he had come to the right team in the NBA, gotten the opportunity. But man, just another guy that, we didn't get a chance to get into the NBA, drafted by the Kings. I think at that time in 95, the Kings were what? Mitch Richmond. Man, I can't remember who else. I don't think Divock was there yet. No,
not in 95. But Rudy, he wasn't much. He wasn't much worse than you see Luka. They showed Luka Doncic, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't play the point guard. He played the shooting guard, or he could play small forward. But when you talk about a player, man, I'm telling you, if I got him with Oscar Schmidt and Drazen Petrovic, hell, that's a hell of a player.
Yeah, we got a couple more questions here. Jeff's back in here. I think I can answer this, Jeff. Derek, who is the strongest player you ever faced? Check this out. I'm going to say, is it Joe Klein?
Man, that's a tough one, because I'm trying to think. Carl was big, and I never got in there, and Carl and I weren't in there where I could feel how strong he really was. So I would have to say Joe Klein, because Joe and I, played against each other in college. So I'm gonna name 2 guys. I have to go to the NBA. I'm gonna name Joe for when he played at Arkansas and I was at UTSA, and then I'm gonna go to the NBA. Man, I'm gonna have to say Buck Williams.
Oh, I would have never guessed Buck Williams. Never would I have guessed Buck Williams.
Buck Williams was strong. Mark West was strong. Sam Bowie used to tell me when we played against Cleveland, and he'd tell me before the game in the layup line, "Hey, Gerv, I want you to watch something. Before this game, when the game starts, pay attention to this. Watch when we go under the basket. Mark West is going to have me all the way on the basket support, and he's going to have his elbow in my neck." So Mark West, and then the game comes, and what happens? He's got Sam Bowie on the basket support. And yeah, man. So I would say for the NBA, it would be Buck Williams first. And then for college, definitely Joe Klein. Big Joe, big country fed guy, I call him. Joe was real, very strong.
For those that remember when we had Mario Ellie on the show talking to us here, friend of the show, Mario Ellie, he mentioned Joe Klein. The kiss of death was something that him and Joe Klein had together. I believe it was during the Houston Phoenix series, or it was some, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, Joe was at Phoenix.
Yeah, so
Joe was strong. I mean, certain guys you just don't mess with. But the killer was Joe was actually a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But just certain guys you don't mess with. You don't even want to, get on his bad side. And Joe Klein was one of those kind of guys.
Man, we got a couple more comments here before we end the show. Mark Cavazos, I would have liked for the Spurs to bring in 2011 second round pick Adam Hanga to play. I don't know if Hanga, great athletic player, but I just never felt he was ever ready to play in the NBA.
I don't think he fit the Spurs style of play at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
And then he had too many guys he had to try to beat out as well.
Oh, way too many. The Spurs were really big. They had their roster pretty much set in stone. I think Hanga was probably best to stay overseas. Diane Zohar, do you think we're in danger of robots and AI replacing real players in the NBA? Will they ever be able to achieve that? So NBA robotics, AI would play a huge part of stuff, but the robotic part, in time, I'm not going to knock it because, hell, they've got robots running and everything. So you got a robot shooting 3-pointers and never missing already. Anything's possible, man. Derek?
Rudy, the guy on the France interview today, the guy from France, when he interviewed me, he was talking about aliens. So it's been an interesting evening. Aliens, and now I'm hearing about AI and robots. Who knows what's going to happen as we move forward, man? The world is so crazy now. Anything is possible. As Kevin Garnett said, anything is possible.
And we're going to get a LeBron Cleveland. This is for you. Terry Cummings is it true that Terry Cummings was strong?
Yeah, I used to play against TC in the summers, and what some people on here don't know is that TC and I still stay in contact. He sends me his sermons on Sunday. Yeah. But yeah, he was strong. But I don't even know. I don't think Terry was stronger than Mike Mitchell. I used to battle with both of those guys. We used to play actually at St. Mary's during the summers in that hot gym and that hot box in St. Mary's Rattlers. And yeah, TC was strong, but TC was more of a finesse player. He could be, he could use his strength, but he also was a guy that tried to drive by you. And a finesse player that I would have, if I didn't move to Michigan, if I didn't move to Texas, Terry and I probably would have been teammates with the DePaul Blue Demons.
Oh, I didn't even know that, to be honest with you. Wow. I had no idea on that. So you could have possibly been teammates with Terry Cummings and DePaul.
There was only two schools I was interested in before we moved to Texas. That was DePaul University. They were number one at the time. Mark Aguirre was there. The coach was Ray Meyer, the legendary Ray Meyer. Mm-hmm. It was only between Michigan and DePaul. Those were my two teams I had narrowed it down to. And then I get the call to bring my butt to San Antonio. We're moving. So George called me and told me to get on the road, dude. Get in your car that I bought you and get your butt down here to San Antonio. And I followed my big brother's directions.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, it was a good move. Got you to the NBA and your jersey's retired at UTSA. You were a Hall of Famer. I would say that's pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, it's a lot more.
I wouldn't trade it in, man. Let's just say that. I don't look in hindsight. I wouldn't trade it in.
Definitely not. Mario says, if there is an alien, robots are next. Well, apparently there's an alien on the court already, and he's 7'4". In San Antonio, there could be a robot on the way. Derek Rudy on the next show. Yep, San Antonio basketball. Derek Rudy on the next show. What think about a law that they're trying to pass that high school athletes do a transfer portal? I did hear about that.
Rudy, what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
The days of college. I just brought up AAU. Wasn't that yesterday?
Yeah, when we talked about the death of traditional college sports was yesterday's.
And now someone asked a question. Great question and great timing, Tim.
Yeah. You want to answer? We can answer before we go.
Man, what's going on today? High school transfer portal. Wow. Think what I think about it. I think that we're in the times have changed, and I can't say it would be a great thing because right now I'm not too happy about what's going on in college with the transfer portal. You get unhappy and then you move to another school and you're taking somebody's spot that really wanted to be there, that's committed to being at that school. They just didn't go for the sports. They went for education as well. And they're getting beat out by guys that are moving around. And we talk about players now. We don't like players like LeBron moving to Miami. The people didn't like KD going to Golden State, but yet they don't have a problem with the transfer portal. So I'm kind of confused. It's kind of contradictory to me.
Yeah, the transfer portal is just a whole thing. And it's like we said, I mean, I made the comment yesterday and I posted it on our page and said, the death of traditional college sports is here because of NIL. It's a great idea, but it's going to kill the game. And then
Rudy, high school is supposed to be about education first.
Yeah, you would think. Well, I'm just saying. So it's already changed in college, and now if it changed in high school, what next? We're gonna have a middle school transfer portal, and then an elementary school transfer portal. I mean, it's getting out of hand. I like the idea, but some ideas aren't always good ideas. No, definitely not. And yeah, they say they can transfer one time. I wouldn't do it at all. You go to school. That's why they have, realignments, districts and all that stuff. Just keep the transfer portal out of high school sports in general. Real quick before we go, wasn't Charles Oakley known as a strong man? Oak.
Yeah, when he was with the Knicks, but they weren't the strong. Him and Anthony Mason both were strong guys. You know, I played with Anthony Mason when he was a rookie with the Nets.
Yeah,
and he was strong. Oakley was strong, but there was guys that's been stronger than him. In my era, Oak was one of those guys that was very strong. But there was several guys who were strong. But like Joe Klein, I said, and Buck Williams. I think Buck Williams was stronger than Charles Oakley, to be honest about it.
There you go. Everybody getting their comments and questions. We appreciate you all for joining us tonight on Sweep the League. Be sure to go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any content. You don't miss Sweep the League TV. You don't miss Grading the Market, STL 316, STL Music. We just got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. We're coming to you with a brand new network in 2025, and we have just started growing. So if you don't want to miss it, go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button. We will let you know about tomorrow's show. It's Catch Friday. If we come back on, we may do just our picks and kind of cut it off really quick. So we'll keep everybody informed. But nonetheless, we'll be back definitely of next week. We're going to be doing some shows this weekend as well, playoffs kickoff. So we're going to be doing shows left and right, bringing you as much content as we can. The shows this week are going to be replayed all weekend. In case you missed it, you can join in the weekend, watch us talk sports, watch the wrestling show, everything else. So for Detroit legend, I said it, Tim, Detroit legend and UTSA Hall of Famer, Derek Gervin, it's Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league again, we'll see you there, Knuckleheads.
Great show tonight, guys and ladies. Thank you. Everybody stay safe.